Hi everyone, good evening. And this evening I'm going to be talking about hair with the Maestro Supremo hairdresser Michael Van Clarke. And he is going to answer a lot of questions that you guys have been sending in, and I'm sure you will have a lot more soon. Hi everybody, how you doing? Nice to see you there. Hope you've had a decent Monday. I was just saying it's going to be hair stuff this evening, not hair tweakments, which I know some of you have been asking for, and I will one day get around to talking about those, but this is kind of straightforward hair. And the questions, whoops, there goes Michael, I'm going to call him in here. Now Michael is a brilliant hairdresser. He's been in this business a long time. What he doesn't know about hair is hardly worth knowing, and he will have a great view on all these questions you sent in about hair condition, hair colour, handling older hair, and particularly about longer hair, because he's got this range called 3 More Inches, which is about having great condition in your hair when it's longer. And this isn't a sponsored thing or anything. I never actually met Michael until quite recently. We met at a party, an actual real life party with our mutual friends, Bolt Digital, and got talking. And I thought it would be great to get him on here because you don't always have a lot of. So here we go. And I've got all these questions lined up, but we'll see where we want to start. I'm going to try and pick something there. Hey, Michael, how are you doing?
Hi, Alice. How are you?
I am very well. All the better for seeing you and for having a smooth start to this, because I don't know, I've had more issues with lives the more I've done recently. And last week my phone got super overheated and actually blew out before the end of one, which was embarrassing, but there you go. I've never had that happen in the UK. It was a very hot day, and I have got a case on the back of it, but it just got hotter and hotter and then it blacked out. Said that's it.
Sure.
Anyway, how's things? Has it been a working day for you today?
We've been filming all day, actually.
Oh, goodness.
It's a series that we do called In the Chair, Real Hair. And we do makeovers, and we write blogs up and do reels as well. And it's very educational. It's a very good series. It's been very successful for us.
Fantastic. Where do we find that? Is that just on your Instagram or on your website?
On our website, there's a blog section of makeovers, and also on our Instagram they come up, and on our Facebook. But because they're real people, most people can access them and see something that's similar for them. And,
sure.
We don't then do makeup and stuff afterwards. It's absolutely in the chair before and after, so people get an accurate view.
But I think that's where the power of all this stuff lies, isn't it? In seeing what great hair can do for somebody. I was just on a Zoom earlier where a very well-known dermatologist was talking about how the first thing he would send people off to do, I think it was a haircut, as well as finding a brilliant makeup artist when they came in worried about their skin. And I know that's what a lot of the Harley Street surgeons will do with people who are just generally dissatisfied with their faces first. They'll say, go and get a fabulous haircut and then see if that makes you feel differently about yourself. And I'm sure that's what you're showing.
It's very interesting that they are promoting that, because it's absolutely true. Facelift, makeup, clothing will not make up for a bad haircut.
Yeah.
It really is the most important part of your look.
For sure. So I've got a whole heap of questions which are coming, and I'm sure you guys who are watching, lovely to have you here. And if you've got specific questions that aren't being answered, just shove them through, because we'd be delighted to. Well, I would be delighted to put them to Michael, who can have a go at answering them. But one key question was how long is too long for hair in your 50s?
Yes, it's an interesting question. I think a lot of people have heard the belief that you shouldn't have long hair after 40. And it's something that was never really about length and all about condition.
Okay.
And in the old days, long hair for most women would have been dry, frizzy, and going grey. And it was seen as not an attractive look, so that you should have your hair cut shorter. We have much better techniques and methods nowadays to keep hair healthier and with colouring as well, to actually keep hair looking young. So the idea that it should be short just because you're past a certain age, I think is ridiculous. It's much more about how the whole hair looks on you in terms of quality and condition.
I'm very relieved to hear that, because I'm old enough to have thought that it was 30 when you needed to cut your hair and be a more serious person with shorter hair, and I did cut my hair then, and then greatly regretted it. But took me about 10 years to realise that there was no law saying I couldn't grow it. So here we are.
I think there is a limit. I think if women are getting older and they're wearing their hair down to their bottom, to their waist, I think it detaches itself from the aura of the face, and then it becomes something which is almost like an accessory that's no longer part of you. And I think part of the beauty of hair is in the energy that it gives as well, not just a static visual. And if it's too long, then I don't think it works, especially as you're getting older. But I think far longer than most people realise that they could have if the hair is in good condition.
Yes, and lots of fab examples of it on Instagram if people are looking for inspiration. And hi, Portobello Muse, yeah, you got long hair and don't care. I'm very glad to hear it. What about so condition? What are the key things we need to do then in order to get hair in great condition, that it can look better at whatever length it is?
Yes, I think it's a big area, a big subject area, and the last 20 years or so have seen an explosion of things that we can do to hair. So having flat irons and hot tongs, far hotter than they were in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
Colouring has become something, since the death of perms in the late 80s, early 90s, more people have gone on to colour. And how hair is coloured will determine how healthy the hair is. And unfortunately, we see a lot of over-colouring, where the same hair is coloured again and again and again, or it has what they call toners, which in the old days would have been a vegetable colour or a very weak rinse, and now they are diluted tints. And a lot of technicians are putting these on every time they hit someone's roots, and that's causing the same hair to be tinted again and again and again, which makes it more porous and thinner. And also things like balayage, which is a highly skilled application. It's become a fashion item in itself, that people want to have balayage, not really knowing even what it means. And a lot of hairdressers that don't really understand how to do this, which is basically by hand, the sweep by hand, are over-colouring hair, and clients think that they can have balayage every 6 weeks. It's not like that. You cannot be accurate with balayage that often. It needs more regrowth. Otherwise, you just end up over-colouring the same hair again and again. So things like that have made hair actually drier over the last generation.
Wow. So is that why we're all mad for all the moisture sprays, the heat protectors, the oils, and all the rest of it? Because I keenly use a lot of stuff just to try it out, but I realize it's getting ridiculous when I've got a kind of intermediary conditioner, then a conditioner, and then I use an oil on top of that. I mean, I've got quite a lot of hair, so it can take it, and then I'll use an overnight product that's more hydrating to smush into it. And at what point does it all get to be too much, and what's a sensible thing to do?
Well, a lot of the products on the market that claim to be hair care are in effect hair cosmetics. They're not actually transferring any health into the hair. But if they give you an instant effect, people believe that they must be doing the hair good. And most of these products rely on things like silicons, which are hydrophobic, and heavy oils, which are not what hair is made of. Hair is made of essentially protein and water.
Yeah.
97% protein and 3% water. So any product that you use on the hair, generally a cosmetic product, which dehydrates the hair, will weaken the hair shaft and encourage the thinning of the hair shaft, and eventually that hair shaft will split and break.
Okay.
So many of the cures that are being offered are actually making the problem worse.
Wow. You mentioned silicons, Michael. Could you go into a bit more detail? Because we had a couple of questions in earlier. Why are they so bad? What are they doing? You said they're hydrophobic. Could you go into, be a bit more specific about what that actually means for the hair?
So hydrophobic meaning that it repels water.
Yeah.
So, I show a test sometimes where I pour a siliconized product into a beaker of water, colored water, and you see that it doesn't mix.
Okay, just sits on the top.
Well, it just sits in a globule.
Okay.
So most of these silicons that are being used displace some of the moisture in the hair. So on the one hand, they're being used to stop moisture coming into the hair, to allow the hair to stay smooth for longer. But they're also displacing some of the hair's own moisture. So what happens is that's a dehydration moment. If you're using hot implements as well, that's another dehydration moment. All these dehydration moments destabilize the protein structure of the hair, and it becomes brittle. And parts of the bonds break away and are washed away, and that's the thinning process of the hair. So, you've got very good hair, but if you were to feel the roots of your hair here and feel exactly the same hair further down, you will see that the structure changes. It becomes thinner, more brittle, more frizzy. Because I'll show you an illustration here. If you can see here, this is an illustration of someone who's not uncommon.
Oh yeah.
Who's lost a lot of their hair at the bottom. A lot of it's split and it's broken. Now, it didn't start out like that. It started out with a complete hair shaft where the cuticles were laying flat, so the hair was shiny, it was supple, it had its correct moisture content, which is about 3%. And as the hair dries out, the protein structure thins down, the surface cuticle lifts, so then the hair starts to feel rough and frizzier. And that carries on thinning to the point where it's so brittle that hair starts to break away. Instead of bending and bending back, hair snaps, and then you start to get split ends as well. So, that's the life cycle of hair.
Yeah.
Depending on the lifestyle you lead and how you care for your hair, this can happen in 5 months, or it can happen in 5 years. What we know is that when we put clients on a better strategy and using better products, the rate at which the hair thins down is dramatically slowed down. So you keep much more of the hair quality lower down as well, not just at the root. And that's really the simple way of seeing it. A lot of people, when they see hair like this, the hair's so broken, thin and frizzy, they think, I must take a pill, or it must be something with my metabolism. Most of those, it's true on the rarer occasions, but for most of those people, the hair at the root is actually perfectly good. You
just need to maintain that.
Healthy, but their lifestyles are killing their hair.
Wow. So, okay. So what are the key products, the key things? Because I was thinking hair oil, most hair oil formulas, if you look at the formulations, they are mostly silicons of up to 5 silicons at a time in there. You'll get. So what do you recommend? What do you put people onto?
Those sort of products will instantly make your hair look and feel smooth and silky, but it's not your hair. It's like you just varnished the hair.
Okay.
With something, and that will actually make it worse next week. So you get tied into a vicious circle or cycle of constantly reaching for something which is an instant fix, but with a penalty the following week. So our products, we formulated our products really about hair health, because we weren't happy with what we were being offered years ago by the big conglomerates. Most of it was synthetic cosmetic, and just really not what we wanted for our clients, and they just weren't doing the job. Most of them were all much for muchness. So we used one of Mayfair's trichologists to formulate for us a product which didn't rely on cosmetic effect, but genuinely fed the hair and protected it, so it slowed that aging process down. And it's very much about bioavailability. And this is a term that people may be familiar with in nutrition.
Vitamins, yeah.
In the sense that, we've known for a long time that you can keep taking pills, but most of them just pass straight through you. If they're not in a form that the body can accept, you're just throwing money down the drain. And it's true with hair care as well. Hair is protein and water. Using something that's full of silicone or argan oil or nice mountain flowers from a tribe in the Amazon sounds lovely in the marketing, but it's not doing anything for the health of the hair, because the hair won't accept it anyway. And the key clue for most of those is that they ask you to wash your hair first. And they ask you to wash your hair first because were you to wash it after, you'd wash the entire product off, because most of them are nothing more than superficial conditioners with a very high price ticket.
Wow. Okay. Jane, hi Jane, lovely to see you, asking so many questions, and it's not that I'm ignoring them, I just wanted to get Michael to talk for a bit. Is Olopex part of the vicious cycle, she says, or is that actually helpful? I've always thought that was quite helpful for the hair.
I think the original ones started out being, the idea was that it would allow you to do more on blonde hair, that you could actually punish the hair a bit more, and it would help it to recover a little.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm 100% convinced. We have used them in the salon, but I'm less convinced now that their recent ones are full of silicone. So Olopex number 7 has about 4 different silicones in, and were their original key element that effective, why are they relying on so many silicones?
For sure. Goodness. And you said you have your products, you make your products, you have them formulated. I mean, that's pretty rare in the hair industry, isn't it? Because from what I understand, most people get them white labeled in some way with a few tweaks. It's quite rare for a hairdresser like you to go right back to source and get them made from scratch, or am I wrong on that?
No, you're absolutely right on that. But I think in our situation, we don't have pressure.
Hang on. Whoops. I think you've frozen. Say that again.
So we don't have the pressure of investors that say you have to release this brand in 18 months and you have to do this and you have to do that. We've taken our time to develop these, and the original product we started 30 years ago.
Wow.
And each product since takes 2 or 3 years of formulation, where we're testing in the salon, we're testing on the catwalk. They have to perform. We even test in some very nice locations like Wyoming to test for the cold, and the Maldives to test in the sun, and the Negev desert. So we go through very thorough testing for ourselves, because we have to convince ourselves more than anybody else, because we don't want to use them in the salon if they don't perform.
Sure. Wow. So if you've been developing them for that long, I mean, you've got an amazing consistency in the message and everything. It's like you say, it's not like a new spin-off line.
No, the key core product, and this was the original. This is still our bestseller, the lifesaver treatment.
Okay, talk about that a bit, would you, Michael? I don't know that one.
Well, this is the pre-wash treatment that started the whole range, and this is something that goes on the hair dry, and you leave it on for. Originally, it was mainly leaving on overnight, or you leave it on for about 45 minutes. A lot of people nowadays use it before they go to the gym, or before they know they're going to be washing their hair, or before they go to the salon to have their hair blow dried. They'll put this on before they go. It's just amazingly effective, and it wasn't released to the public until about 10 years ago, and we've not really gone out to sell it in a great way, but it is available around the world. I was looking at one of our distributors in Australia, Mecca, who are a fantastic store group in Australia, and I was just looking at their website last month, and they've had our product for about 5 years now, and looking through their reviews, this product, they have 598 hair products. This product had the equal most reviews
Whoa.
of all of their hair products.
Goodness.
And equal highest score, which I just thought was amazing, because they just get on with it. But these are people that just write in because they're so surprised at how well this works, because it's not it's not a very, very high profile product like a L'Oreal product or something. People in the know the product, and it has amazing reviews.
Okay, but Michael, what's it got in it? What's it got in it, and what's it doing? So it's conditioning, pre-conditioning the hair before a wash. Is it strengthening as well?
Absolutely. It actually
protein.
It's a protein base. It's a very fine amino acid complex that's derived from cashmere.
Okay.
And along with a balance of other conditioning ingredients, the balance works that the hair does absorb that at a deep level that allows you to then shampoo after, and the hair retains a lot of that product. So your hair, essentially, it's rebuilding some of the breaks that occur in the hair, which then allows the hair to hold closer to its natural moisture content, which then stops the hair breaking down so quickly.
Wow.
So it's a cycle. If the hair gets too dry, the protein bonds start to break away, the hair thins down. As it thins down, it can't hold as much moisture, so the protein bonds carry on shrinking. Once the hair shaft starts to break down, it accelerates, it ages very quickly. And that's why people, once their hair starts to go dry, it becomes very dry at the ends, unless they're doing something differently.
Goodness. This is so interesting hearing you talk about all this. I think I'm going to have to rethink some of my hair strategies. So somebody else was asking about scalp treatments. Are any of your products scalp treatments as well?
Indeed, we have an amazing scalp treatment product and a scalp shampoo that has taken off amazingly. We've had it about a year and a half, 2 years now, and it was formulated using AHAs, alpha hydroxy acids, like premium skincare. We didn't want to use a physical exfoliant. A lot of them use things like, some of them use microbeads, which I think is terrible. We know how bad that is for the ocean. But even things like broken apricot husks and things for people.
But they're so sharp.
Well, exactly. For people with sensitive scalps, that in itself can be too rough on the scalp. So we use this formulation. It's a very natural formulation from fruit acids, and very, very effective. We recommend people use it once a week. And we have a follow-up exfoliating scalp shampoo, which is actually I use myself as well. I use this one all the time now myself. It's become a very popular scalp shampoo. And keeps the scalp clean and free to breathe.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, Michael. Do you leave the exfoliating fruit acids on for a while?
20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So that it has a proper chance to go to work, because that always bothers me when people say this is a scalp thing and you just put it on and rinse it off, and you think it cannot be having, if there's any actives in there, they cannot be having an effect. Yeah,
I mean, this comes with a very handy applicator nozzle. So you put it through the hair, massage in, and then leave it for 20 minutes, and you'll feel the hair, your scalp will start to sparkle, and you'll feel the cleansing going on. Yeah.
Carmel, the name of silicons used in hair products, just look on the back, anything ending in cone, own, then look them up on something like, an ingredients website, and you'll start to see what they all are. A lot of love for your products coming through, Michael. People who absolutely love these. Now, can you use these, Tico Bailey says, can you use this on afro hair, or will it leave it dry?
What, the products in general, or
which of your products would work best for afro hair?
This is all hair types. I mean, we get some very good reviews for people with afro hair, and that's a great one to use. In terms of the styling products, we have a non-silicon serum, which is our magic oil, which is another brilliant product, and also a heavier product, which is our 10-second transformation, which people would see as like a wax product, which
okay,
tiny amounts on finer hair. You can use more of it on curly or coily hair,
okay.
where that will actually give a lot of control. But the one that a lot of people use on wavy hair now is Lifesaver UV, because this is a leave-in version of our original Lifesaver product. This is a pre-wash.
Okay, and that's
yeah. People with thick hair would use this and then not wash it out because they like the look, they like the effect. But that wasn't. It was too heavy for people with fine or normal hair. So we brought out the Lifesaver UV, and that's become our second best-selling product all around the world.
Okay.
It's an amazing leading product.
Fantastic. I would like to ask you about UV. Somebody's asking, how do you understand if your hair needs protein? I mean, your hair is protein, so it needs protein to reinforce the bits of it where it's becoming less strong.
Well, yes and no. The problem is there's a misunderstanding about protein, because people say, oh, can't you have too much protein? And well, not really, because your hair is protein. But the problem is that a lot of products use proteins that the hair doesn't actually absorb properly. And so it doesn't impart moisture. And the reason hair becomes brittle is because there's not enough moisture. And often there's not enough moisture in the hair because the protein structure is too shattered. So it's like a honeycomb.
Yeah,
so
and it can't.
as the hair thins out and the cuticle lifts, the interior becomes like a honeycomb. So it can't hold on to as many water molecules as the healthy hair at the root. So piling in protein that the hair doesn't absorb because it's not the right sort of protein. You know, I see things in products where you just know the proteins aren't right. There's so many proteins in the world. You wouldn't put beefsteak on your hair and think that's going to make it healthier. And I know from our own research, you know, in trying to improve our own products over 30 years and using labs in the UK and America, you know, we hit on something that worked, and it works very well, but we don't want to veer too far from what we know works very well because of the absorption into the hair. It's a very delicate balance.
Wow. Struggling to get my head around all of this. So we know your products are in Australia because you mentioned it. What about the USA? What about Ireland? People are asking.
Ireland, we were shipping to, and we've had problems since Brexit. So we still unfortunately have stopped shipping to Europe, and that includes Ireland. And we're trying to resolve that. What we have done is we've started with Amazon in the UK, and we've also just started with Amazon in the USA as a way to get the distribution further and easier. And that's the way we will go. Our own website ships all over the world, except for Europe at the moment, but we will resolve that problem.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. There's a lot of questions about hair color, but could you talk about UV protection, why we should be protecting our hair like we are now learning to protect our skin?
Yes.
All of that.
Well, I think for the same reasons. I think people understand the importance of UV protection on skin. You know, we've had it drummed into us for 50 years now. People get the idea that SPF is important. Unfortunately, in the hair care industry, it's quite a way behind. And until we formulated ours, the choice of UV protection for hair care was basically an oil slick. You know, if you want, and the products were awful. You know, and they were the sort of things that people wouldn't want to use. So you could sell a client the product, but they're not going to use it because they don't want to walk around with an oil slick on their hair. Our product isn't like that. It uses a UV protection from sunflowers, which is very effective on hair. And it's water-based, so it dries very clean on the hair. And people use it as a styling product because they like the beachy effect that it gives, or even for blow drying. But UV protection is very important. If your hair's dark, especially if it's tinted dark, you're going to have a problem with the hair lifting quite quickly and probably through quite red tones that you may not want if you're dark brown. And if you're blonde, again, you know, hair will go through. First, it will take out all of the warmth in the hair. It will go to, you know, you'll go through Nordic blonde that you might like, but very soon after that is green that you may not like. And so protecting the colour as well as the condition. We did, as I say, we did tests in the Maldives and in the Negev Desert to test our product against sun and seawater. This was the Maldives test. I don't know if you can see that clearly, and the light's not great. So this is a weft of hair cut in half and then left outside on the dock for 7 days. So this weft is protected with lifesaver UV. This weft isn't. And once a day we pour water on them, pour seawater on. I mean, you can see in the space of 7 days just how different that hair is. I was actually surprised just how quickly and how aggressive the sun is. But we did it again in the Negev Desert with pool water. And this was dark brown hair cut in half. It's a bit of a dark print, but can you see the protected side?
I can't, but I bet it's on your website and I can look it up afterwards.
You can.
I mean, you're very thorough, aren't you?
Well, I don't like to sell something I don't believe in, and I don't like my staff to use it either if I don't believe in it. So
glad to
make sure it works.
Glad to hear it. There's a bunch of questions about hair colour, struggling to cover greys. What's the best way with growing out chestnut hair without full head colour? These are all quite specific. I mean, are there particular approaches to colouring maybe that, could you talk about, or if blonde hair is going grey, should it be a certain way? Are there particular principles you have?
There are some principles. I think the main principle is that someone's hair should look as fantastic as possible with as little effort.
We'd all go for that.
In terms of minimal upkeep and maximum result. And unfortunately, a lot of hairdressing and colouring particularly is done in a way where you may get a big bang today, but within 2 weeks it's actually not looking so great. And that's a poor strategy of hair colouring, because for us as a salon, we like to maintain people's hair. We like their hair to look good right up to the point they come back, and then we maintain. But a lot of people have hairdressing which isn't thought through like that, and it looks good for maybe 2 weeks, and then it looks awful for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they have it fixed. And to me that doesn't make sense. So there are certain strategies for everybody that need to be thought through carefully, but one of the big ones is not over colouring hair, not putting colour on the same hair again and again and again, because it makes it unstable for colour. Having a long-term plan, how will this grow out, and making use of vegetable colours more as well.
Okay.
Instead of constantly tinting on the same hair, you can tint hair once or twice and then rely on vegetable colours, which have no impact on the structure of the hair, and the colours often last just as long.
Yeah, I've had very little experience of vegetable colours, but the ones I have, I was amazed by, because I wouldn't have thought, or actually it was a henna specialist.
Yeah, that's different, henna.
But it worked for blonde hair, which I wouldn't have thought.
Vegetable colours aren't as effective on blonde hair. I'm thinking more for darker hair. People are maintaining darker tones, and they're having their hair over-coloured, when actually vegetable colours to support their tinting would be a much more effective way of colouring.
So vegetable colours rather than... Oh, sorry, you're frozen again.
You're back.
Yeah, you're back. Great. I was asking, so should we be using vegetable colours rather than having endless retouching of roots?
No. If you've got a lot of white hair, it's unlikely a vegetable colour will have the impact that you want, but it may be that if you allow some white hair. My point is more that once you've retouched the roots, you don't want to then overlap those the second time, and then put a toner on the whole head the third time, and then comb the tint through on the fourth time, and then put a toner on the whole head the fifth time. Because if you've got long hair, what you're doing is destabilizing the colour in the hair. You're making the hair much more porous, much more quickly. And if you've got brown hair, in the sun, you're going to lose that color very quickly if it's been covered that many times.
Yeah, yeah. Because of the damage heat does to hair, I know people have been asking about styling without the heat, and I've got one question here saying how to naturally style frizzy hair with no heat. Well, what would you advise on that?
Well, again, it depends on the style, but if someone has, say, slightly wavy hair, but if they were to allow it to air dry, it would be a little bit too frizzy.
Yeah.
Then, this Lifesaver UV is an amazing product. Comb that through, let it dry. We've got examples of this on our website. All sorts of different hair types. I use it myself because my hair dries here. Otherwise, I put it on, comb it through, leave it.
Yeah, wow.
It keeps it smooth. But people with wavy hair, frizzy hair, young hair, old hair, that's an amazing product. If your hair needs more than that, maybe wrap in the hair around your fingers and just put in some soft clips in.
Okay.
Just as if you want more of a style, there are lots of ways you can do it without putting heat on the hair.
Or like those very fashionable
those bands,
the toweling, the dressing gown.
I think that's a great invention. It reminds me of the pipe cleaner sponge we used to use in the 70s.
Or the old rag roll.
The old rags. Yes.
Rags, which was like 20s and 30s, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember back then. But,
it was. I had an old lady who used to do that on my hair, but it was incredibly painful to sleep on because she'd make a knot and then do it quite tight, and you couldn't get away from it. but it
they make silk versions now.
Yes, nice squishy silk ones. I've been eyeing them up on Instagram because otherwise I'm always getting that out during non-camera meetings on whatever, just to keep myself occupied.
You've got strong hair, Alice. You can see you've got strong hair.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
It can take a lot, but again,
it can, but I don't want it all to suddenly.
No, I know. So even if you interspersed it with a little bit of natural drying, it would help a lot.
Yeah.
As I say to people, they may have an aggressive regime.
Yeah.
People say, is it bad to wash your hair every day? It's not bad to wash it every day, but if you have an aggressive heat styling regime, 7 times a week is a lot worse than twice.
No, I was just running off. I've also got a bunch of these things which are foam twisty.
That's right.
Though I find with something as fine as this, it's really hard to get a decent result. It takes forever, and then it all, drops out really quickly. What else? I should probably let you go because we've been going for longer than half an hour. Are there particular things I haven't mentioned that you would like to get across in terms of points about hair management?
I think one of the most basic foundations is a haircut, the right haircut, and what we have. And what I see again and again and again, if people were looking on our makeover blogs on our website, unfortunately, the industry has slipped into, over this last generation, just doing one-length haircuts. Most people have a problem getting layered hair or shaped hair from their hairdressers. So it means that hair is too heavy around the bottom. It also means that the more fragile hair at the front is kept very long, and so your shop window of your hairstyle becomes your driest hair, your driest, frizziest hair on your head, and it depends very much then on lots and lots of styling to try and cope with that. And often a proper haircut that shapes the hair properly, whether it's long or short, will deal with so much of the styling angst that people have where they're working their hair too hard.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got an extraordinary number of customers, clients who've been coming to you for a long time, haven't you? Which is
yes, we have, and we're very proud of that. I think there's probably over 100 that are more than 40 years now.
More than 40 years.
Yeah, so I've grown up with them. And, it means a lot to me that they they still think I'm worth coming to.
For sure.
So it's great.
Fantastic. Now, also, if people are interested by this and want to look at your website, do you have people online who can advise on which products to start with? Because you look at all those products on there and think...
We have a mechanical quiz online as well.
Oh, okay.
But anyone can email through, and we have a very good team here that will answer any questions.
Brilliant. Thank you. And somebody earlier was asking where to find you, and the answer is in your very fine Marylebone salon, which is Beaumont Street, isn't it, in Marylebone?
Yes, number 1 Beaumont Street.
Number 1 Beaumont Street. Okay. And obviously online, you know, just click on your handle here, the M Van Clarke, and then that will take you to the website and whatever. But Michael, thank you so much for your time and expertise. It's been really fab hearing all this, and I'm going to go and examine what's on my shelves a bit more carefully, because I pay far more attention to the skincare I'm using than the hair care. And I know what I like in terms of hair care, but I'm now not entirely sure that it's perhaps as good for my hair as it ought to be. So we'll see. I'll go, yeah, take a look. But look, thank you very much.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Okay. Speak soon. Bye now.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.